Hi, Commander Hangovers here, and bringing you another video. This is a run through really of the game from the start. We had a wipe in Gamma, and luckily it's continued over though into the final release. So I'm able to show you here Gamma through to where we currently are with the release, and how to sort of make money in the game, and how you work through the activities in the early part of the game to try and make yourself enough money to get yourself to those better craft. So the first thing you're going to want to do is deal with this really crappy jump range you get with the Sidewinder. You've just got the lone scanner, and I don't really make a lot of use of that. Done some scanning of planets and systems, but I think it's quite time consuming, doesn't really give you the profit. What I prefer to do here is just get rid of that and put in a cargo rack. I noticed here in the Gamma that cargo rack, if though says it only weighs 0 tons, it actually weighs 2 tons. So I'm back to my original jump range, but I'll give myself more cargo room here and open up more missions. Pondering through what's available here, this is my startup system. I've been playing a little bit, so I've made some credits, but this is really me starting from scratch again to show you how you can do something similar to build yourself up and get better craft. Power distributor on this system, oddly, they've got rating A systems. And no B, C's, D's. You'd think a system that got A would have all the other variants going forward, but you can go straight to A here. So a bit of a pondering one here. Do I go straight to A or not? It weighs more, but it's good to actually have better power distribution. I think it's one of the ones, apart from the frame driver, I think it's a key one to actually upgrade. I think the power distributor is also a very good system as well to get upgraded as soon as possible. One good strategy here, you've got 2 hard points, you've got loaned lasers. Yeah, great, they didn't cost you any money, but you might as well just ditch one of those. You're not going to be fighting a lot in the Sidewinder. Here we're trying to make some money, and you're not going to make it. You'll probably die a lot, to be honest, if you try and make it out of bounty hunting straight away. So the best thing to do is just ditch one, or both of them actually. Later in the game I do actually get around to ditching both of them just to save weight and get absolute max jump. It's good to have one though knocking around just in case you get pulled out of frame shift and you need to fight your way out of there. Yeah, pondering back again, look at the power distributor. You know, it's nice to have an A rating power distributor to start off with. You just compare that back to the E. It's the same weight actually. It's just going to be the extra credits you're sort of losing straight away. So I have actually gone straight up to power distributor Class A. So now I've got myself 6 cargo capacity slots, or 6 tons I can carry, but you know, not particularly great jump abilities. So what do? Well, your starter systems, you seem to be fairly friendly with people. You seem to have a good variety of starting up delivery missions, and these pretty much provide you pure profit. What you will spend money on is in fuel, and if you're very unlucky, you happen to get interdicted and some of your systems destroyed, or even at worst case your whole ship destroyed. Other things obviously with any of these bulletin board missions are fines if you don't actually achieve and deliver them on time, or even eject the cargo out into space after aborting the mission. In this case, it's the best thing to start doing though. Just start doing these delivery missions. They don't pay loads, but there are thousands of credits which will give you the money straight into your pocket at the destination and no mucking about. So launching, usual process, select launch, get off the pad, remember to retract your landing gear, point yourself at the destination system, which is ROS 210 here, and engage your frameshift drive. I did do separate mappings for my frameshift and for my inter-system jumps, let's say, and my interplanetary jumping, and I just mapped separately to keys J and K for that, so I didn't get too much confusion. So here, yes, we're doing a system jump, jump here, going through to ROS 210, and lovely animations and all that stuff. We've been seeing these ever since the early betas. I still absolutely love the system jumps here. So as I was saying, the Sidewinder's not a real fighter. You could beef it up and make it into a fighter. I don't really believe it's got the armour and hull to deal with punishment. You can do all sorts of things though and put better plating on, better shields. In the end though, you've got to deal with higher power drain from the extra weapons as well you're going to put on. and then you're beefing the system up, and it becomes maybe a mid short range sort of fighter in the end. And ships like the Viper and ships like the Cobra 3 actually are much better choices if you want to go down that road. And that's what I'm doing here. So what I'm looking at doing is play the Sidewinder as much as possible. There will be a threshold point where it is no point really continuing with the Sidewinder and you want to sort of leave it. I kind of like to keep it behind. I've got a real soft spot for the Sidewinder, played a huge amount through the beta, and really I'm looking at what point do I want to sort of upgrade and move on. Now you can move on to the Eagle. I think the Eagle's a very good second choice to move up to, but again I think it has some of the interim sort of issues you're going to have around trying to manage Sidewinder. At the same time you start buying other craft, and then the Hauler as well. You can buy the Hauler, it's got a bit more room, but I don't think it's making a huge amount of difference, and considering the fact you're a bit more of a target with a Hauler, easier to sort of destroy, and you've got to pay the insurances on these new craft, that it becomes a bit of a detriment. Now throughout all of this I've not actually been destroyed playing the Sidewinder all the way to the end of this video, being fairly able to evade any interdiction and just really get my head down on anything you might have done that's a little bit illegal or anything else. So I think Sidewinder most of the time works quite well. It does eliminate some of the risks that you'd have to pay for a brand new craft entirely. It's really just the modules you bought and put onto it that you're going to have to pay for in insurances. So I'm approaching Fu City here. You'll notice that I've actually steered towards the planetary body it's orbiting and then headed towards Fu City. The reason for doing this, which has become quite apparent when I jump out here, is the fact you'll be roughly facing the front part of the system and the landing bay. It's not a big deal on some of the smaller starports, which you can land any face of it really. Some of the larger ones here, I've got the single entry and exit point, and if you just approach from any odd angle you'll probably approach it from behind, and then you have to fly all the way around some of these larger ones before you can dock. So the best thing to do is approach from whatever it's orbiting, that is always facing what it's orbiting, and then when you jump out you'll be able to roughly face the front of it. So here you go, just landing here on landing pad 1, and I don't know, there don't seem to be any particular order, there's all over the place these landing pads. And we'll be doing one of our first, well, not the first delivery for me, I've done a few of these already to get myself just over the initial starting amount, but in this video the first delivery and the first real steps you'd be taking yourself to earn more money in the game. And it's pretty slow at the start, and one thing I find that's pretty slow here is the fact that you can't really jump too far. You don't have the huge capacity, and you're not trusted by huge amounts of systems, so you go anywhere out of your starting system and you're going to find it harder to get jobs from the bulletin boards, and harder really to make the profitable runs, which are going to require bigger jumps. So here I'm giving the cargo, that was 6 tons, so I was able to do that because I had extended out my cargo bay. And I've got a few more offers here as well, and other jobs I can do. And you can keep picking them to go along, but here, this is an example, prime example here. I've got 4 scrap I could take to this system. So, let's check out the galaxy map and look at where it is. So it's just above me here, and it's a little bit too far out, 8.18. I can't make the jump with the cargo. So it's closed the door down here, and this is something you want to overcome as quickly as possible. So here I can see, what does 4 tons look like? 7.41. So if I accepted that, I would find myself completely stuck, unable to make that delivery, and I'd have to abort it and incur the fines from failed delivery. Fine here is not very much, but it's going backwards. You want to be moving forwards here and making that cash, not make these real simple mistakes you can make early on in the game. So a lot of it is about make the money and really focus on getting that frameshift drive upgraded as soon as possible. Now that might seem like a backward thing. You think Sidewinder, rubbish ship, I want to get rid of it as quickly as possible, get myself in a Hauler or get myself into my Eagle or something else, but you've got to remember those ships are going to have exactly the same problems, and what you've done is spend more money getting to those ships and then realising you still have to upgrade those simple systems. So my strategy here is focus on the Sidewinder for as long as you can and try and make the most of it. Now, being somebody who's backed the game from early on, I do actually have the Eagle here, and you can see on the map that it's actually held at another system. I could have done this video actually showing how the eagle's going to work, but I think beneficiaries for this are going to be people as well who haven't backed the system and are going to be starting for Sidewinder. And I've always been really happy starting for Sidewinder, getting forward with it all. So here I am looking here at another type of mission that you can fulfill. So this is a different one. This is not a delivery one, but this is fulfilling a request to go back to your originating star system and deliver a particular good that they're either lacking or as a luxury item they don't supply themselves. And people on the bulletin boards are offering to pay higher amounts for delivering those back to the system. Now this isn't the same as obviously doing a simple delivery. In this case, you're going to have the overheads of having to buy the goods yourself and then deliver them back. Now what I'm doing here is I'm looking in the star map there and trying to figure out, by filtering through, who delivers those goods. You can look back to the video and see how I did that, but you can filter by goods and exports, and if you don't have that, you can buy the trade data as well from very close local systems. You won't be able to buy trade data from very distant systems, but systems that are extremely close, you should be able to buy the trade data, figure out what they commonly deliver, and it will show in colours, sort of coloured line there, flows in one direction, going from the system that sells it to systems that buy and trade in it. So there's not really a need to write down absolutely everything you see in commodities boards. The system sort of remembers quite some of this, a high level information and data. It doesn't still give you the trade data and the actual values you're going to get when trading, but you can buy it, you can see how it flows. If you visited the system before as well, you'll be able to get that information for free. But here it shows that for this trade route I'm embarking on at the moment, I can actually do this and buy from my destination LHS 64. So I'm going to show a bit of folly now actually of following those trade route things exactly. So the indicators do actually show that you can get from this system coltan, and it's probably correct. What I've done here though is I've actually gone to one of the outposts, MacArthur Colony, and when we get here we'll see that you can't actually buy coltan straight from this one. Now, I did make a mistake doing this video. I should have just flown to the other system, well, the other starport, and try to make the purchase there, because there's two commodities market in this system. The habit I've had in the past is the fact that the beta releases had usually one starport doing commodities and that was it. So I kind of looked here and went, what's going wrong, and where can I actually buy coltan from? Just instantly assumed it wasn't in the system. And you go back on the system map though and check it out, you can probably buy coltan from another starport within the same system itself, which is kind of interesting really. That means you can go to different starports and get different purchases. It also means you need to pay a lot more attention in the system view to what you can actually buy. So if I look on this, there is another system completely with Humines here which can trade, and it's showing here as well on the lines that are moving from Chigaru. It's showing a trade route to LHS and also to this other system, Chemiku as well. Now I've got to get back to ROS 210, and that's quite a long jump, so just having a quick look around here as well at what else I can do and just purchasing some extra data from the other systems. But the result of this one's going to be that we'll go to Chigaru, and that is going to be a couple of jumps to get us back to ROS 210. And this is what you have to do if you don't have a fully maxed out frame shift drive, and one of the good reasons that you need to upgrade and get that. Sounds like I'm going to keep going on about that all the time, but time is money in this game, and if you're going to spend 2 hours to play the game, you don't want to be spending most of that time in a session just trying to deal with and manage all the jumps and get through. You just want to get from point A to point B, make some cash, save that progress, and then pick it up again next time you get some time to play it again. Unless you're a real serious committed player who've got loads of time in your hand to play for hours and hours and hours. It tends to be trying to get the maximum amount of time out of it, try and fulfill some of those missions within the time frame you've got, and having a good jump drive allows you to do that. going to have to fly around this planet. My destination is the opposite side of it, and you can't actually do the jumps directly to a destination star system if there's a planet between you. Seems a bit odd. You'd think there'd be all sorts of planetary bodies in between you jump, but in this case when you go out of the system you have to just fly around it. So just put frame shift drive on here just to steer myself around the planet and then face my destination and actually do the proper jump and then power the drive to get out. So something you might come across the first time you play and wonder why you can't make the jump, and it is because it's masked by a planetary body which you have to get around first. It can be a bit annoying sometimes having to just go into frame shift drive for interstellar travel and then go into frame shift drive. Anyway, making two jumps at the moment because we can't do the jump all in one. So we go through to Chemiku first, and then we'll jump onto our destination. Again, we just come out near the star, turn away from it, and then get into our navigation panel and find out where we want to go to next. You go to star map as well and select your destination, or find it on the list from the navigation panel. So now I've done that, face into the system. I can make the jump now actually, you can start doing it without facing it directly. And then get yourself to the next jump point. So we just jumped into Huey Mines and approaching it. I think when you get to 7.5 kilometres you can do requests for landing. I'd suggest doing that as early as possible for these smaller starports. The reason for doing that is you can actually see where your landing bay is going to be from a distance rather than getting too close up and then it masks where the landing bay is. They can be at any side of the station, it can be quite hard to find it. So I've got a docking request denied. It must mean that all the ports are currently being used at the moment, all the landing bases, should I say, are currently being used. So just hang around for a minute, just have a look at who's around the base, and there seems to be NPCs here. So we've got, I assume there, probably some of the defence. Tends to be Vipers. Can be a mixture of other ships though. And just keep trying. I'm getting access denied. Can't land on this. Another problem with the smaller ones is there are fewer landing bays, and if they're all being used, either somebody's taken off or somebody's waiting in it or somebody's waiting to land on there, you can get stuck in a queue. There's something that actually happened nearing the end of the beta phase, and we all got put into the same starting system. And when we were trying to do trade routes and trying to get to these pads, it was absolutely impossible to do any landing. It was almost comical, talking to other players over chat and just passing the time waiting for a landing bay to get free. Luckily we're all spread out and started from random positions. So I've managed to get docking bay 2 sorted out here. And proceed to land here, and we can buy ourselves some of this coltan. We've been absolutely spending ages trying to get. I think this is the longest bit of the whole video here, just showing how to do this. But yeah, and bouncing as well off the landing bay. But this is sort of, sometimes you have to go through this and do quite a bit of exploration, trying to find the right commodities and goods that you're going to need to buy and sell on again. The penalties will be there if you do not complete it, so once you started, you have to get through and complete it, or take the fine. But you know, this is about progressing forward and trying to make the profit and the money out of it. So we need 2 coltan. Just always double check my transactions to make sure I'm buying the right amount. And submit that. So that's now in my hold, and we're ready to get ourselves back. Now this isn't going to be a single jump as I mentioned before, it's going to be a couple of jumps to get ourselves returned. Now a little bit on the side here is there's a delivery mission we can do back to Weiberg and where we'd been previously. So I know I can do that jump. It's going to extend things a little bit, but it's a good little profitable run for silver there. So I don't want to turn that one down at all. So we'll just go back to Galaxy Map as well, and we'll check out where we need to go back to. and then make the 2 jumps to LHS 64 Window 2, and then the final jump back to ROS 210. Now I'll skip over that bit. It's another delivery run though to the system, and then back to ROS 210 to complete the mission. Here we are back at Fu City, final destination for the ROS 210 transfer. So we've bought the coltan, we've had a side delivery going back to LHS 64, and then we've flown back here, the final jump back to Fu City, where we're going to actually complete the transaction now, and that's going to be the last transaction on my list for this particular part of the video. So it's a little bit more in depth about how you go about trading or buying goods and trading back to the originating starport that requested it. Bulletin board missions are going to pay the way at the lower end. There's no way you're going to be, well, you can do it, but it's a long way of earning money by just trading from one port to the next. It's more feasible when you've got a larger transporter and you can make the smaller profits count multiple times over with greater cargo capacity. While you're trying to do this for what I've got here is maximum 6 tons, then it's kind of better to just do it through bulletin board small transaction missions. So I'm going to show some mining now. Mining is a pure profit way of making money, apart from the fuel costs and if you've incurred any damage, of course. Everything you mine is yours to sell at 100% profit. To do that, you need to buy a mining laser, which I've just done now, and you also need to buy yourself a refinery for your ship as well. So here I'm going to replace the cargo rack with the cheapest refinery you've got, and it's got 1 bucket. What does that mean? That means you can only refine 1 type of material at a time that you've mined out from the rocks. So when you blast a rock off an asteroid, it usually comes with 2 or so, I haven't seen more than 2 at the moment, but 2 elements usually in there, minerals or metals or whatever you're going to get out of it. And you have to choose which one you want to refine into a ton's worth of cargo. Mining laser are bought along with any sort of laser, anything you buy, needs allocating either to primary secondary fire or to a new fire group. Here I'm just going to put it onto a new fire group. Fire groups are controlled by default by pressing the N key. That could be remapped as well through configuration, but N will cycle through the different groups you've got, and if you've got lots and lots of weapons, then it's pretty useful having fire groups to control the amount of power usage. So with that done and the ship's ready to go, we're going to pick on a destination to start mining. So we've got this A belt, which is metal rich, and the B belt, which is rocky. Metal rich sounds really good to me, so I think we'll head in that direction. Now the belts themselves just aren't a single destination to travel towards. Looking here on the navigation, you can see that A belt is actually split into different clusters, and that's the way the game handles it at the moment. You travel to a cluster or an extraction point or something along those lines. You can't just fly in that direction and you're going to come across some asteroids and that's it, you start mining them. They are really anything outside of frame shift drive space is sort of like clusters of playable areas really as such. So we'll take off now and we'll get ourselves over to the asteroid belt nearest to the sun. So here we are in the asteroid belt after frame shift driving through. You can see here we've got lots of asteroids now, and we are able to shoot at these and collect minerals from the asteroids themselves. Now it said it's metal rich, but it seems to be actually ejecting out more minerals which I guess need refining. So these are the sort of things you take off to refinery, they give you a lot of cash for that, and they turn them into metals which then you can buy from the refineries. Got another ship around here as well, also blasting the rocks. AI controlled, but no real competition for me. I guess you could be a bit cheeky and try and steal some of their rocks. I don't know what happens if you do that. They might turn a bit hostile on you though, I guess. So we've got a choice here. I'm going with coltan at the moment. You get a small percentage each time, and then when you build it as 100%, then you have a ton of coltan that you can take and trade back at any base. It takes a long time though, because you have to scoop up enough rocks to make 100%. I think we had 30% on that one there, so there's at least another 3 scoops, well not even that, 4 scoops really, then you make yourself over 100% and you have a ton of coltan in your hold. Each time you do this, you'll fire at the rock, a small piece of rock will come away, you'll have to scoop that up, you can fire away and get a few pieces, but then you're chasing them to get further and further away from the asteroid you just blasted at, and there's a lot more chasing involved going on. It does sort of drive you a bit nuts after a while, chasing lots of rock, or at least it drives me a bit nuts. As I said, it is really quite a profitable way of making money. It's a very lonely way of making money though as well. You're staring at these rocks quite a lot of the time. I guess it reflects the realities of doing mining though. So there we go, I've got a bit of uranite now come off this one. So I picked on a different asteroid and it's giving me different minerals. So it's always good to remember which asteroid you were mining as well. That can get a bit disorientating. Once you've blasted a bit off, you have to go chasing it through space, turn back around again and try and figure out which asteroid it was I took it from. Generally it's the closest one, but it depends how far away you have to go chase it. I think I'm trying to figure this out right now, you know, shall I go back and try and find some more coltan? It's good that I managed to get uranite, that's worth a bit as well, but I'm trying to make a ton of coltan here, so I need to find either the original asteroid I was mining or one that's also going to give me some coltan. And it's a lengthy process, you know, I'm just wandering around trying to figure this one out. There's that uranite that I mined before, so I don't want to go that direction, not right now. Might go back to the uranite one later. Let's try this one. So getting to range, you can see in the scanner the asteroids that should be in range to shoot. You'll be really aware here that you get some very large asteroids spinning, and they can actually spin into you because they're not all perfectly round by any means, and some are quite elongated. I've been quite close up trying to mine them and suddenly realised that part of that asteroid is spinning in my direction. I was going to whack me. I've never actually got too close. I managed to always back away just in time, but I'm guessing they'll do quite a bit of damage to your ship if you're not careful. They certainly do ping and bounce around some of the minerals that you do shoot off these rocks. The minerals themselves can bounce off the asteroids, which can lead to quite a lot of entertainment trying to chase them down. These are ejecting neatly away though. They're the same mineral as mine before, it should contain coltan. I'm just going to chase it down. It's on a bit of a different trajectory to me, so a bit difficult. You rush around too much of this as well, they end up bouncing off your hull and going off in different directions and you have to chase them again. Oh, we're up to 81% now, so mine again, and hopefully we'll have a hull full of coltan. Well, 1 ton's worth. Blast away. Wait for something to come away from the asteroid. I don't know if it's a bit of a sign that an asteroid's getting quite well mined. If they stop ejecting rocks often. I don't know if the frequency decreases or if it just stops altogether. Oh dear, just flew straight into that piece. It's good though now, I've managed to ping it off in a direction where I can actually catch it easily. Oh, is it? I get more and more impatient and I bounce more and more of these rocks off my hull. Come on. Gotta take it easy, nice and slow, nice and steady. Don't do it again. And there you go, resources unallocated. Go in there, allocate. Whatever you do, don't do something I did before, which is just go straight to the vent one. That vents out everything. You've got to choose what you want and then vent the remainder. So I have now 1 ton's worth of coltan. And you do rinse and repeat. Back to another rock, shoot that one, gather the minerals, go through the refinery, build up your store. Now it's probably quite good as well to have something with a bit more cargo space to do this. You can spend a lot more time out near the rocks, mine everything from them, and then you've got a bigger haul to go back and you make more cash. Right now in the Sidewinder you still make a decent amount, and I'll show the results of this mining fairly soon. I'll just cut away from a lot of this because it's going to take a while to mine all these rocks. But you do make a decent amount of cash in the end, even in the Sidewinder with a small amount of hull space available. We've only got 4 tons that we can mine at the moment. You can still slowly but surely build up the amounts you need to buy the bigger, better ships. I've seen people doing quite a lot of mining though using haulers, so they should provide a decent amount of hull space, storage space, let's say, to store what you mined. And it's only got 1 hard point, but that's enough just to put the mining laser on. By the power of video editing, we are returning back to the starport with 4 tons worth of minerals to sell. So I can't remember how long it took to do all that, but it took a while. Quite a bit of blasting rocks and chasing down the minerals. I'm guessing you could do this a lot quicker with a better refinery. You can refine more minerals at the same time, or whatever materials you're getting from the asteroids. So here we are at 36,369 credits. Where does it take us to when we start selling these? So the coltan's a decent amount. We've got some barenterite as well, which is really good. Should have actually gone for a lot more of that. Just start selling off what we've got of 4 tons worth of minerals. Okay, with that done, now we're up to 45,116 credits. So probably equal to a decent long distance trade, special mission request, but if you do have the better refiner, as I say, you'll probably make twice the amount of money. With the extra hull space, you'll probably make even more in one go. Well, you will make more in one go with more cargo. So something that is probably a bit beyond what I'm trying to demonstrate here with the Sidewinder, but is a way of making some cash early in the game without, you know, the necessities, let's say, to have big guns, big shields, and the big hull you're going to get from the later ships. So this is a later recording I've made further into Gamma, and now we've got a decent amount of credits. It's time to upgrade the Sidewinder a bit, give it more capabilities. Though it's great that we've got 123,000 credits, it's very slow to get to this point with the ship the way it is, and upgrading it is a necessity, in my opinion, if we're going to push out further and go to things like Cobra Mark IIIs from here. So first thing is to get that frameshift drive upgraded, because this is the biggest difference it's going to make to the ship to increase the jump distances. And you can see here a D is actually the lightest one, and this B is 4 tons, which is way heavier than what I've originally got, but it doesn't make too much difference. You still get an increase in your jump distance. Obviously it diminishes the more weight that's going into the frameshift drive. I'm guessing the returns you're going to get from distances jumped also decreases. They do have power requirements, but it's way below what I've got available from the current power plant. So quite happy to buy the best frameshift drive I've got. The only one I'd probably reserve buying would be the A, because that's a stupid amount of money to buy for the system. So we've got sensors, they're class D, and they're the lightest sensors for the ship, which is helping increase our jump distance anyway. I don't see a lot of reason to go up to anything like A. It's more cost, it's heavier, and I'm not really looking to improve sensor range. So the other area you might want to investigate here is looking at shields, and again, we're not looking at improving these for combat purposes, but if we can get a lighter variant of this, then it's certainly worth investing in. So just searching through here, it's not something that's available to buy. I mean, there's no reason to actually have a shield. If you feel brave enough, you don't need to have them at all on the ship, and you could really save yourself the extra tonnage. But I would recommend against it, because you kind of rely on the shield sometimes to just absorb some bumps and scrapes if you ever have a small collision with another ship or the side wall maybe of a space station, which has happened to me. Power plant upgrades, we'll be looking at lightening that. We don't need the extra megawatts. Again, we're not powering up big weapons here. I mean, if I certainly was going to make a fighter out of it, I'd be going straight for the biggest power plant I can find with the best power distribution available, which we have got on the ship actually. The power distribution has been improved, but I don't think in this case we need to get ourselves straight up to class B, well, rating B power plants. The rating D one is 1 ton, and that saves us 1.5 tons, which increases our jump range when we buy this. So there you go, improved that as well, gone from a loaned one to a D power plant. And again, that's increased our jump range, so we're now laden with 14.55 light years and unladen 16.73. So we've got over that 10 light year sort of jump range now, and we're in a range where it's really, really good. We can get to most nearby systems. Actually, we should be able to get to all nearby systems, which I want to jump away now, very close in the galaxy map. And we can jump over lots of systems as well now and reach destinations which are much further away. And this really, really helps, because if you're having to make multiple jumps, it's just wasting time in the game where you could be just making the jump straight to the destination, do what you need to do, return back if you need to do that as well. And that process is the process that makes you the money. So there's one final thing I'm going to show you, and that's the black box missions. There's also signal missions as well to discover the signal, and these are ones that you find from unidentified signal sources, which I think they're a bit random really about how they appear. I don't believe there's a set pattern to them, but these are set in a system. You've got to go find them. There's either 1 or 2 signals or black boxes you need to find. In the case of this one, it's one black box in a different system, which we're going to jump to. And I'm just going to fast forward really through all the jump process and getting into the system. It's a system with no starports or any other bodies apart from the suns that I can find here. So it's really difficult. There's no real destination to set. What I have to do is fly around quite a lot until I came across this second signal source. The first one just had a ship at it. I found the second one eventually, and got out a frameshift drive, and lo and behold, there is an object here, and it is the black box. I read a lot about these on forums, and it can be quite frustrating that you are jumping around quite a lot trying to find them. It is really an easy way again of making money. The only downside is it's an illegal activity, so if you get scanned and found to have a black box on your ship, then I guess it would be treated like any stolen item. You'll get interest from security forces, and you don't really want that. Now, when it comes to obviously trading in stolen goods that you might have scooped from space or stolen directly from piracy, then you can kind of decide where you're going to trade those. In the case of this, you do have to go back to the set destination, the starport that issued it on the bulletin board. So I'm forced here to go back to Lael Hub, but there will be security forces here, so the best thing you can do is stick your silent running on, as I have done now, and hope that nobody really picks you up and tries to scan you in the meantime, you don't overheat your ship or damage it. I'm guessing that there's certain ports that could issue these black box signal missions, and you're going to be finding it really difficult trying to sneak past security. I've had to switch it off for a bit because it does overheat your ship. Did get scanned, managed to get through. So it's got a little bit of risk element to it, but it takes a bit of time as well to find these black boxes. Sometimes it can take quite a long, considerable period where you're going to wonder if it's worth the money in the end. I did manage to find this one really quick though, so it's kind of worth the 12,000 credits. That's great. And it obviously helps as well with your reputation. So I thought I'd just show that as a final piece really to this collection of videos that I've put together since the Gamma. It doesn't show quite a lot of other items. It doesn't really go through assassinations, any sort of bigger haulage processes, how to explore other systems with scanners. They're fairly straightforward. I could have gone into a little bit more how to explore systems. It's a fairly straightforward system. If you have a discovery scanner, you run in the system, you get a bit of money. If you run the scanner, you scan or select target any of the stars, then you get more data on you can sell. Assassinations I think is beyond the capabilities of the Sidewinder. You could probably do it, max out Sidewinder, have the abilities to do that, but I don't really think it would be suitable here. The demonstration of this video was to show how you can go from the very start of the game and work your way up to a decent amount of credits where you can buy a Viper or get yourself to a Cobra Mark III. Probably not to the ships that are going to cost you $1 million. I think you need to have a jumping off point. The Adder looks like a really good choice as well to go to next. I'm not too impressed with haulers, and I think with the Eagle you got yourself a better fighting sort of Sidewinder in opinion. But it's kind of up to you. This is just showing you one path through. I think the Sidewinder is an extremely good, capable ship to get you to this point. I've managed to get here close to 200,000 credits, and I'm assuming it won't take me much longer to get that extra bit further there and get myself into the seat of a Cobra Mark III. The other thing I've not covered as well, I suppose, is military missions. Once your reputation goes up, you're going to be able to do more than just delivery there. And again, you know, it's better to probably pilot a bigger ship to achieve these missions, and it's the point of the game. You're supposed to buy into other ships. It's not just about owning ones. I'm trying to show here. The Sidewinder will take you this far though in the game. I've got a soft spot for it. It's going to be tidied away somewhere in another starport, and I'm no doubt going to go back to it and just use it to roam the galaxy a bit. And do long distance jumping and probably go explore the Sol system at some stage as well. If you found the video useful, then please let me know in the YouTube pages. If you see Commander Hangover in space, then please say hi.